Hi, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Today we are talking about WAP versus Ben Shapiro.
This is empowering stuff, guys.
Excuse me, I'm sweating. It is so hot. Ben Shapiro just went viral with this.
Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I want to ride. I do a Kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. Wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. There's water pouring out the front doors of this place, and that ain't water, guys. I mean, that's what I'm being told. That ain't water.
But before we begin, Thinx is having a huge 30% off sale through Wednesday. I'm their ambassador because I love Thinx. They're sustainable, comfortable, and so cute. For me, ditching tampons was just cost-effective, and it's better for the environment. I use the Flex Cup and wear Thinx to stay clean and dry. So click on my offer code below to up your period game. Speaking of staying dry, today we're talking Ben Shapiro versus female pleasure, aka WAP.
My first concern is that these women are describing a serious gynecological condition.
Ben is openly, loudly, and proudly conservative, and I've done a video of him already because I despise his black and white depiction of the pro-life versus pro-choice debate. No, don't clap. Check out my video on that for more. I support and vote for the Democratic Party because they are notorious for pushing comprehensive sex education and for access to birth control, both of which prevent pregnancy and therefore termination, which is a goal that Ben Shapiro and I ironically share. One of the reasons I do not vote Republican is because not all conservatives, but many big ones, like Vice President Mike Pence, push for abstinence-only education and fight to close down women's health clinics, while both those actions are proven to increase termination rates. And unfortunately, Ben Shapiro has proven my point here, that this nation is desperate for comprehensive sex education.
I mean, a bucket and a mop? This sounds like there's something that is going on here that is not biologically normal.
If you did not know about female ejaculation, which is what Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion are talking about, I am not shaming you. As I've said, America has one of the most piss-poor sex education systems in the developed world. So Ben, yes, women can ejaculate.
I mean, a bucket and a mop?
Yes, it might be enough to require a bucket and mop. But this clip is particularly upsetting.
Fortunately, I know a doctor, who is my wife. She had a few sort of indicators here on how she could diagnose the vaginal condition that apparently these women are suffering. Bring a bucket and a mop. So this suggests that there's an awful lot of medical discharge that's happening here. And there's some talk about smelling. There's a line here about gagging and choking, which suggests that perhaps there's an odor issue here.
Not only do Ben's words show that even a sexually active husband can be unaware of a female body's ability to experience pleasure, but this also shows that his wife, a female doctor, was unaware of female ejaculation, which is what WAP is talking about. Ladies who get wet or even really wet during sex, I hope Ben's comments didn't shame you or make you feel abnormal or sick. Female ejaculation is notoriously understudied, but there are two types. One, a squirting fluid. This fluid is usually colorless and odorless, though a slight odor would be normal, and it occurs in large quantities. Ejaculate fluid, this more closely resembles male semen. It's typically thick and appears milky. Both of these reactions to orgasm are perfectly normal, and despite Ben's wife's advice, do not warrant a trip to the gynecologist. And I could tease Ben for being prude, but it's not that simple. I know that our culture, like many cultures around the world, fear that a push for female pleasure will lead to more breakdowns of the family structure.
I want a divorce.
Or that female enjoyment of sex will cause promiscuity. And I don't want to get demonetized, but look up what some cultures have done to rid women of their clitoris because they were that dang afraid of female pleasure. So one, we need to eradicate this lie that leads to a fear that when women experience deep sexual pleasure, they'll be prone towards promiscuity or they'll break up their family unit. Even in WAP, Cardi is talking about her husband, Offset, and their family unit is intact. You can be monogamous and married and want your wife to have a WAP. And two, I've said it before, I will say it a million more times. If we're made by God, then God made the clitoris, which serves no other purpose but female pleasure. Female pleasure, therefore, is apparently important to God. The question really is, can we promote and celebrate female pleasure without promoting unsafe sex? And the answer is yes. And as always, the answer is comprehensive sex education.
You know, it's called a vagina.
Comprehensive sex ed is true to its name. It talks about sex biologically and emotionally while helping students create a sexual ethic, which includes enthusiastic consent, mutual pleasure, and the protection of bodies from STDs and unwanted pregnancy. Fighting music, art, and advertising for the hearts of our children will always be a losing battle. Every generation has artists who push the boundaries and challenge cultural mores. From Elvis gyrating his hips, which was considered incredibly vulgar at the time, to Marilyn Manson, to gangster rap, to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's WAP. Your children will be exposed to these things, but your best defense is empowerment and education. Education is about helping your kids make wise, autonomous choices with their body, even if, according to our religion, they're not the choices that we ourselves would make. Because like it or not, your child, teen, and young adult's body is their own. And frankly, since statistics show that the majority of American youth are turning to porn for their sex ed, because again, we're not offering it in enough schools, they're being exposed to the main page of Pornhub, which is violent, misogynistic, degrading, and male pleasure-based. So whatever your moral stance, at least WAP might make a teenager consider that women deserve pleasure too. So again, Ben, anyone who was scared of this song, just take it as an opportunity. Now you've learned something new. Women sometimes do need a bucket and mop. It's not a bad thing, and we've got a lot to learn, and I hope for the sake of you and your wife, especially if she's a doctor, you might get to exploring a little bit. And that's it. I love you guys. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, donate to my Patreon or Venmo if you can, go pick up your pair of thanks. I love you all so much. God bless.